let's begin. I just want to say hello to everybody. Thank you for joining us. And of course, you can see with me on the screen here, I have the beautiful Zahara Celestiel all the way from Wales coming to join us this evening. Hello, Zahara.
Hiya.
And Zahara is a soul alchemist artist. She is a soul light language activator. She's a bit of everything. I don't want to put any words on her. I'm going to let her maybe bring through that in her energy or her words. But welcome. I am so happy you're joining me here today. Oh, it's wonderful to have you. And of course, Zahara is joining us because she is going to be hosting with Eve as a moderator on Sunday, the 7th, which is the Light Language Festival, the Lionsgate Light Language Festival, her own workshop on introduction to channeling. And we're going to have a little chat about a little taster, teaser about that in a minute. And I really just want to say thank you, Zahara. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Oh, thank you. It's such a joy. Thank you so much. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm like needing to breathe and land today.
Yes, I think a lot of us are. This is where we are in the gateway. So I want to invite us all to however we anchor, ground, connect. We have our own way of doing it, but I'm just gonna, like I say, take a breath and breathe and really connect into our physical body and come home to being present and feeling our base chakra, our hips, soles of the feet on the earth, feeling the heaviness of our bodies, and energy roots that go from the base of our spine, our root chakra, and the soles of our feet, and go into the earth star that's below in the earth. And really feel ourselves held by Mother Earth Gaia, like a tree with roots growing into the earth. And we can, if we feel we're nicely grounded, extend energetic branches up to the sky, the sun, the moon, central sun. But just make sure you're feeling really nicely grounded before you do this. And you can meet the energies of the heart of the sun source to our heart and the heart of earth to our heart. So we are amazing, profound beings, a meeting of many hearts, many, many hearts. And you probably will be, and as I am already, feeling the energy current moving, because we're a pillar of light, a shamanic term, hollow bone. So we are naturally always channeling. What is a channel? It's a current of energy moving, and that's what we are. As human beings, we're always communicating, energy moving back and forth, communication moving back and forth. We always are communicating. We are energy, and energy is communication. It has a purpose, it has an intention, it has a direction, and it communicates. You know, every cell is communicating with every cell, and we are millions of cells, billions of cells. You know, we all just now having that map of the chakras, and those chakras correspond to planets, and you could call them portals. You know, they're vast, they're energetic, vast systems. So it's a lot for our head, mind, ego to comprehend, and even that is activating. Me saying all that, I feel it's our minds are going, whoa, oh my God, whoa. So I feel we're in the well, is it current? That's what's come through, an energetic current, which is really moving these intelligences, these communications through our system with more fluidity, with more grace, more beauty, more resonance, high frequency.
Yeah.
Hence my grounding, because I personally have not felt the need to ground so consciously before I do anything. But recently, in this window, we're in the Lionsgate, I had a experience, a vertigo experience, and I'd been doing a lot of channeling for a lot of people, and it's due to that I've slowed right down. I've realized there was another layer of my ego mind that was keeping the programming of doubt running, underestimating, undermining, devaluing the reality of what I was bringing forth, with collaboration with whoever would come to me and say, please, can you do a channeling of the, you know. So I feel the journey never ends on clearing the programming. Yeah. I had a wake up. It's like, okay, we've all in this, and it feels like an accelerated current, though. Yeah. My guides are saying that it's not. You're just you're just getting in the flow of it. But yeah. Anyway, that's. Do you want to say something?
I'm actually feeling all the feels as you talk, and I'm almost readjusting that flow right as you're talking. You can feel it like a little click, click. And Zahara, you mentioned that like ascension vertigo, and you weren't the only person that I talked with that was experiencing things like that. And even I had my day where I told you I had a whole thing of like passing out and coming to, the flush of energy through me, like almost like clean, especially the electrical systems in my body. Mm-hmm. And today, Zahara, like around 2 hours ago, I did a live. I was telling everybody about you, about this, actually. That's what I was doing. And I had a message that wanted to come through. And I didn't say this to you before we got on, but I wonder, is it linked? And it might be fun to play into that, because it's linked to the word ascension and awakening, and it's linked to channeling. So I was shown like the back of the head, and like that point between the skull and the spinal column and the electrical system and the vagal nerve. And they were talking about this is a chakra, and I never knew about this, right? I only know about the throat chakra kind of thing, or, you know, the front of the head, the third eye. And they were saying this is coming online in a lot of people during this portal. There's a kind of a flow coming in specifically for this chakra. And it's going to help in the aligning. It's going to help in the expression and the alignment of these systems here, particularly around the throat, the crown, the mind, and the heart, the higher heart. And it's the expression of love, pure love, and that we won't be able to hide behind manipulations, or we'll sense it, discernment comes online. So it's all this kind of information coming in. And I was like, I never heard of that chakra. And somebody in the comments said, the Alta Major. Mm. And that's linked to ascension and awakening. And I've never heard of that word before.
Right.
I got chills when I read it, and I go, oh, that's what they're talking about. And that gives ascension vertigo, supposedly, as it's opening. When I looked at what somebody else brought through, they said ascension vertigo, dizziness can happen when this is coming on line with the higher flows coming in. And I was like, oh my God, I wonder, is that linked?
Yeah, I've spoken about it over the years. It's very well known with Kundalini awakening, which is, you could say, awakening ascension.
Okay.
As the Kundalini rises from the base of the spine, the root chakra, it will shoot up and go through the chakras and will alight there, it's called also the God seat.
Yeah, the mouth of the goddess.
That's it. Yeah. And I had that many years ago. I had a dream of I had a dragon tattooed all across my back, and I woke up with this pulsing, and it pulsed for 3 months, just going boom, 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 and it was clearing. So all the trauma and density had moved up, and it's a highly intuitive center. It's very much like I kind of compare it to like the it's very active. It's the root and that chakra in the heart are very active when you're born, and it's a primal. It's primal, so it's very instinctual. It's a bit like hairs on the back of an animal that will. So it's psychic. It's intuitive. It's like it is another eye.
Okay.
And when that clears, it will link to the third eye. It will make it, that will then link to the crown, and it makes a triangle, and then activates the pineal, and then boom, that's
Wow.
Kundalini awakening. So all this is all related, because people have a lot of fear around Kundalini rising and Kundalini awakening, having these strong physical experiences. I have spoken to more recently people saying that they've had spontaneous Kundalini rising, and it's they've gone a bit crazy with it, basically, and that's the fear. There is this fear around channeling, which is all interlinked. It is the same thing in a way. There's a lot of fear of losing your mind. A lot of fear. There's a lot. We've been in the fear, which keeps us not awakened and not in flow of this current. I was talking about this current of energy. And we think, it's something being done to us, or is it out of our control? And so I actually went to a shamanic healer many, many years ago, and she worked on that spot before I had anything happening with, and it didn't bring on any Kundalini rising or awakening, but it was like an energetic plug gone stuck in there. And I could feel the heat, the healing energy coming off her fingers. And when she placed it there, it was such a relief. She was just releasing so much that was stayed there. And when I was training in the School of Intuition of Healing in London, only the South African branch exists now. So they were very much in the thought, which is pretty much a lot of, I don't know all of the schools of thought, but the contemporary energy healing thought is that you do not touch that area, because it holds a lot of the pre-verbal trauma. It's pre-verbal, like I say, it's active, that chakra, when you're born. It's very instinctual, so it can be linked to being almost like animal-like, but it's the one chakra, when that gets cleared, that is linked to spiritual awakening. So it's nature. It's all this stuff is clearing the programming of the base being denigrated, the woman's body, sensuality, sexuality, the body, the snake, Lilith, Kundalini, dragon, Mary Magdalene, all of it. All of it. And so many, women have been awakening to the dragon energy, which is, you could say, Kundalini.
Yes, it's like another word for it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the same.
So there is in the northern shamanic tradition, northern sort of going up North Europe, it's called vulva, which is the women who are oracles that speak, that channel.
Right. Did you say the word vulva?
Yeah, it's similar to like vulva, but it
Ah,
isn't.
okay.
And there's a whole like I say, tradition around female oracle speakers.
Yeah.
So there's many different traditions. I first came across this when I did an angelic workshop at the College of Psychic Studies in London. It was very, at the time when I went there, they were no to tarot, no to witchy stuff, anything that, no to debate. They saw it as base stuff. It was all angels and light, and so there was a split. They kind of felt like a split to me. So I went there to Stuart Pearce. He's an incredible human being. So I went to a workshop of Stuart. Was it Stuart Pearce? No, that's not Stuart Pearce. He knew, sorry, it's my dyslexia. That's not Stuart Pearce. Stuart Pearce is another individual who I did do workshops with, who is very different to the guy who I'm trying to remember now. People might have heard of Stuart Pearce, and he is a big showman and very flamboyant. And the other guy I'm thinking of is not like that. But why I muddled up their names is because they both were in the team with Mark Rylance. When Mark Rylance directed the Globe, he brought in an esoteric spiritual team to with him. Anyway, that's another subject. So this other guy, whose name might come to me, did the whole activating this chakra to connect with your guardian angel, and I didn't feel a thing in the workshop all day. I'm doing it wrong. People probably heard me tell this story, and then we in the afternoon went up to the park. We were near Kensington Park. So this is many years. I'd closed down all my my psychic centers. Yeah, probably that does mean closing down my chakra centers. And we got to the park, and people were saying they were seeing auras around trees, divas, you name it. And I'm standing there not seeing any of it, not feeling any of it. I hadn't connected to my guardian angel. I'm thinking, what am I doing here? I'm not sensing anything all day. I've been trying to open up, not feeling anything. We're standing in a circle and everyone's like this, that, and the other going on. And I'm like, I'm not seeing anything. I started to feel behind me a feeling of a huge presence. And I started I'm like, what is that? It was like you do when you feel someone's walking up to you. That's that chakra that senses that. When you feel a presence coming, it's that chakra. But it wasn't just that, it wasn't the size of a person, it was massive. And the more I started to tune into it, I'm like, what on earth is going on? And he looked at me and he said, okay, you're not saying very much, but he's highly awakened. This, I wish I could remember this name. And what are you sensing? And I'm like, everyone else is going on about this, that, and the other, and I'm like, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to seem like I don't know what I'm talking about. So I just went like this. I just went. I literally went like, I said, "What is it?" I said, "It's there's something there. It's really big. It's really big." And then he said, "Everybody turn around because that is why we're here. So everyone, just turn around and look." And it was the Victoria's memorial to Albert, and there was this massive angel presence, phenomenal, with a whole choir of angels and this huge angel. And I'm like, whoa. And we walked up to it, and then there was this huge swan feather that I just picked up, and I was standing there with this. And he goes, "Have you just picked that up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a nice feather, isn't it?" And he's like, oh. Like this. So that I tell that story to people who haven't heard that story, and when I teach, just to let people know we have our own timing, and we can think we're not doing it right. We think, we're not seeing stuff. I wasn't seeing any of that, and I still don't see things in the way that other people see and sense and feel. But luckily I was with somebody who was a true open-hearted being, who wasn't sucked into the group mentality, because they all were like agreeing with each other, and I'm sure they I don't know whether they saw it or didn't. I'm not saying they didn't, but we're so used to following the herd, the crowd, the group, and not wanting to be different. And so that was perfect. And I'm like, whoa. If we hadn't gone to the park, but it was all, we were going to go to the park, I didn't know. It's all divine timing. And I won't go do another story, but I have lots of stories of how I opened up psychically, which was not how the way I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And not how others would do. And so another thing I will share with channeling is I went with the School of Intuition and Healing because I wanted to open up my psychic centers. I went to a weekly reading class. So we didn't use any props, as in no scarves, no tarot, no crystal balls, no reading from rings, nothing. You'd sit there, poker face, 20 minutes. And I was she put me in the beginners class, and I moved quickly up to the people have heard me told this other story, but I won't do that. I went to the advanced level, and I'm sitting there at the advanced level, and then everything just kind of closed down in a way. Everyone else who was at the advanced level were really gifted. They could say, your brother's called blah, your front door is painted red. We would do this like, this distant reading. They were specific. And I'm sitting there like, I can't do any of this. So I'm again sitting amongst other people thinking, why am I sitting here? But Sue Allen, who was the created the college, I'm thinking, well, she must know what she's, I know because I was the other group, I was kind of being able to do stuff and more stuff than they were able to. So I got moved up. And then the minute I got moved up, I'm like, I can't do any of it now. I can't, oh God, what am I doing wrong? And then I'd open up with a reading, and then I start bringing stuff in, which I'm now doing for readings for people, which I now get. But back then, so I don't know, we're talking quite a few years ago, I'm like, what the hell am I on about? But I knew it was true. And the people would be like, oh, I'd be going to go blah, 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 blah. And they're like, they would literally, because they're meant to be poker face, but with me, they weren't. They were like pulling faces. So I'm like, what is she going on about now? And I said, I don't know, but I know it resonates. I can feel it. And that's, yeah. I don't understand what I'm talking about. And so it's taken, I don't know, we're talking quite a few years. I don't know, 7, 8 years. So 7, 8 years ago, I start tuning into what I'm tuning into now in a way, verbalizing it. The words are coming out my mouth, and I'm like, I haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. I then left the group because I'm like, but something was being awakened in me. Because I would go right up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I think that's a big thing, Zahara. The uniqueness that we all have as channels and how it's expressed through us that's our journey, isn't it? Learning what it looks like for us, what it feels like for us, how it sounds for us, because you can watch somebody do their thing, but you'll never be that in a million years because that's that person. And we doubt ourselves then, and moving through the doubt. And we all have a place, I think, as channel, whether you're actually working with people or in your job or in your family, or, you know, it's very vast.
It is incredibly vast. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm wondering what's in store for people, like in the workshop. Have you an idea about, because it's so vast of an area you want to kind of look at? Or are you going to kind of touch on a little bit of everything?
Well, I've got a specific, I was dropped in what I'm going to do, and then I'm just going to be guided, channeled with it. So it's for the workshop, I will say this, it is all about opening our hearts. It is that simple, but moving through the complexity that we move through, which some of it is, well, a lot, you could say all of it's beautiful, but we are, like I said, we're amazing multiverse walking around in this physical being with all sorts of histories and connections and cultural programming and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So peeling back all of that to get to the simple purity of it's opening our hearts. So for me, I feel my job is to, with this, is not to have too much blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because the blah, blah is very interesting. And our mind, we are part of our ego mind. And our ego mind needs to sort of settle in and understand. I mean, I like to understand things. So it's like, okay, our mind needs to understand, to relax enough. And then there's, you can go that route, but there's an opening up of the heart, which is not the mind. It's all about love. And so being grounded, feeling safe, and opening up the heart. So you begin there, you stay there, you end there. As long as we're in that resonance, we're connected to that, then that's the meaning of everything. So when you learn to do energy healing, you bring the energy into your heart, and it then comes down your arms into your hands. When you learn to channel that energy as a channeler to speak it's bring it down into your heart, and then it comes up and then out your mouth, you can say.
Right.
And that's one way you can very manually switch things on. You bring the energy down into your heart, and then you move it out to speak it. Now, I haven't formally taught light language sounding. The way I've was in blah blah and do this technique and switch this on and whatever, I don't know what other people do. The way I've taught people with light language sounding, which is channeling, is in drumming circles and just getting everybody just to make noise. I call it noise, I call it play, just bang the drum, I start sounding, other people then sound, and I framed it in, do you feel, where does your imagination want you to connect? So when you open up your heart, that opens up your imagination, your inner vision. Yes. It also, there is an opening up of here. And then there's an opening up of the crown. And I mean, everything starts opening up, but it's all directed through the compass of the heart, the compass. And so then you feel who, so, and I say, well, it's like we're a living myth or story. It's all real. So who or what do you want to connect with? That's it. You are the driver of this. Who do you want to connect with? What, or you can do it. What element do you want to connect? Do you want to be up in the mountains? Do you want to be swimming in the sea? Do you want to be walking in the desert? What environment, what element do you want to connect with? If you were going to connect with a mythical being, who do you want to kind of go and say hi to? Do you want to go and say hi to a little fairy? Do you want to go and say hi to, I don't know, a dragon? Do you want to say whoever? And play, just play with that. Who do you want to play with? Be light-hearted.
Yeah.
Be light-hearted, because the mind will go, this is, I got to get it right. The mind will not believe it's true. The mind wants and doesn't want the same thing. The mind wants proof it's true, so it has to be physical and solid. But if a being came in and managed to materialize in a physical way, the mind would fucking freak out.
I know.
So you've got confusion going on. So you have to quieten that conflict. The mind is in conflict, basically, because the mind's going, prove it to me, but don't prove it to me. And so we've all got that confusion going on. And so that confusion is an interruption. But you just go, okay, ego mind, I know you want to keep me safe. That's fine. But once you get those, those are my tips. And then on the workshop, I will talk about the different, what you could say, degrees or levels on of thinking on channeling. From I'm now interpreting, I'm playing, I'm hearing or imagining something, and now I'm either voicing it or drawing it. It's separate to me. I see it's separate to me. So then I am now going to, this old school, I'm now going to bring this being that's going to take over me, and I'm going to be like in a different conscious state. My eye's going to roll back. I'm going to start dribbling. And I'm going to start going, where is this, talking a funny voice and all that business. That's people will train for years to do that. I'm not belittling that. People will need to train for years in that way of doing style, because it's a certain framework, a certain philosophy, approach, resonance. And I've been with somebody who has done it, and it was for real. It was for real. She's in Glastonbury, and I went with a friend who wanted to go, and it's Chung Fu, I think he's called. She channels. He was a human, and he's passed over, and he's ascended on a higher resonance. Well, I didn't realize she's going to channel ISIS, and I'll tell you, but there was no. She just closed her eyes, but that was for real. So she's I would say in her 60s and has trained, and she trained in the old school way. So she would depart. She wouldn't be there. They would take over her body.
Is that the word trance channeling then? Because I wasn't familiar with the wordings,
Yeah. And for me, this whole area is about separation, moving from separation to unity is awakening. So, and sovereignty.
Right.
Because do we feel, in order to bring in these higher resonances, that we've been vibrating at a lower resonance, so then we get out the way so they can use our vessel to communicate. I'm just exploring this. I'm not, obviously we all got our own experiences and views, and I've witnessed a lot over the years, over a lot of ego around it, especially I was in a pagan community where there was a lot of drama around it. It was a lot of drama. Who would be channeling and trans channeling the goddess or aspect of this and that and the other for the ritual and this and that and the other, and I there was one incident where there was this being that was moving around. It was a camp near Glastonbury, about 80 people, and there was this being that was disturbing most of the teaching and organizing team, and I was part of the teaching team. There was a whole group of priestesses and organizers for a camp of about 80. And this being, people were saying, oh, it's a dark goddess because we're working with a Caradwyn. And I'm like, I'm not convinced it's Caradwyn that's waking everyone up in the middle of the night. This being had woken me up. And then the teaching, I was a trainee priestess student teacher, and the kind of the ones that are leading it said, oh, we need to channel this aspect in to see why she's so pissed off. So only the student teachers wanted to do it, not the teachers. So the teachers just sat there holding the space. Now I hadn't been taught how to channel or trans channel, so there's 3 of us that none of us had been formally taught, but I at the time said to this being, you're not taking over me. You can come down and then speak through me, but I am in control, and we'll be in partnership for this. And I formally said that. So then my eyes rolled back, partly I think because I thought, well, they need to roll back, but I don't know. I think maybe that's my rational mind trying to rationalize it. And this being talked, and it was just very upset. I hadn't been heard. It was wasn't Caradwyn. It was a very powerful, had been not a human being, another being had been on Earth. But maybe a shaman, then had kind of moved on, and then on Earth. So we're talking a long time ago when this being had been around, probably connected to the fairy realm in a way. And we just was pissed off. I think was just upset, wanted to be heard. And then I'm like, okay, you've been heard now, and then left. Meanwhile, one person, the other student teacher, looked at me and said, oh my God, you're doing this for real then? I said, well, why are you here? Why are you not believing any of it? She said, no, I don't. But
wow.
But you've done it for real. And the other person went into a shock spasm, and the 2 teachers shoved her in the shower, a cold shower, all clothes on, to get her back into her body. I thought, well, I've got a natural, one could say, ability. I've always had various abilities, it feels like, abilities to know how to navigate various dimensions, and
yes,
but I had all common sense, how to look after myself, and luckily nothing, other crazy than that. And that was, well, we're talking a long time ago. We're talking, I don't know, I mean, goodness knows, over 20 years ago or more when that happened. So way before my Kundalini awakening and psychic, this, that, the other, switching on. And it was an area, it was, like I say, pagans and doing rituals and ceremonies. So that it was an environment where people wanted to perform and be seen, and priestess, and so I'm not in that environment anymore, and I left because of it. Because I'm like, what's, in the end of the day, what is the purpose of doing all this drama?
That was the word I was feeling when you were describing that. It sounds like a lot of drama. Wow.
I think to me, you know, there's been, I mean, shamans naturally channel. I mean, when you channel, we move through different veils that hold different dimensional environments, portals in nature. When you move into someone's home, you're moving into an energetic environment that holds lots of information. That's what psychics tune into. Yeah, psychics are channeling information. So for me, an awakening is the veils are. We had this idea you got to open your chakras up to then move into this other realms, and then you move out of the realms and close your chakras. Now, in all the various spiritual groups I've been in, there was no conversation about ascension and awakening in all that. This is what you do in order to go move into higher environments, frequencies, and how to look after yourself when you do that, which is very sensible. And then you move in and out of those frequencies and those environments. But through awakening and ascension, we're saying as a collective and individually, we're moving permanently, we're evolving from being in that split dimension. We're moving into higher frequency where there's more dimensions that we have access to and we're vibrating in, because it's inclusive, because God is the highest and it includes everything. In fact, 3D is like this bandwidth, then 4D, and then 5D, and 5D holds everything. It's not separate. 5D holds everything. So 3D is like this, that's 4D. Then 5D holds everything. 5D holds the 4D and the 3D. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so this is how I feel it. So in a way, that's 3D, and then it just expands. And so we're being able to feel the space more. And so, no, I lost my thread. But so it's not going up. It's not bandwidths. It's moving. And 5 will hold the 4 and the 3.
Yeah.
So the old school would say, right, you're in the 3. And then you've got to jump up. And then you've got to jump down. Yeah. But we're talking about awakening and ascension. There's a whole new big conversations going on about it. We're saying we're bringing in avatar. There's this phrase, avatar aspects. There's soul retrieval. There's, what is our, oversoul, being able to connect with that, or dragon aspects. Fairy aspects, golden ones, shining ones, walk-ins, which I think is actually all that. That's a whole nother subject, but it is related, because I've had, I would say, a walk-in, which you could say is a channeling. So one day I'll wake up, this diamond galactic being presence comes right into me and looking out of my eyes, and I feel, and it's kind of more like a he presence, is like a child going, this is what it's like down here. It was like for 3 days. Oh my God, it's like, my God. And he had like rainbow diamonds. It was like he had like big long eyelashes. And I was looking at that aspect of me. Right. Because when you start going into inclusive, it's like there isn't that separation. So that so some people could say that was a walk-in, and other people could define a walk-in as channeling, but this being aspect then merged with me, didn't leave. I was like, what's going on? I wasn't freaked. I didn't get vertigo. I mean, I've had lots of experiences over the years, but I haven't, which is interesting, because what I'm thinking, what's going on? There's something going on collectively. I mean, the other time I've had vertigo, we went on for weeks and that wasn't pleasant. But then I had a Palladian come to me in a dream and say, you're going to get a big initiation. So at least that was a heads up. But anyway, sorry. So I get going on. It's a vast subject.
I love this because I think I was getting prepared, obviously, for our chat tonight. As I said, I did that short, like, hey, everybody tune in tonight. And then a little message came through and it was in the moment. So I need to go back and listen because I'm not even remembering it all. But it was like they were saying, all that's happening right now, and this is maybe through me, is maybe why, because I'm going through it, but maybe others are too. That's why I'm saying I'm going to kind of give it voice, because it sounds very similar to what you're saying. And it's hard to find the languaging, and we're always trying to divine things with languaging. So anybody that like with the languaging, just let it go and just feel maybe what we're saying. I went through an experience in a breathwork session. A being stepped into my body and asked permission, and I felt it, and I was like, oh yeah, this feels familiar, feels good, okay. And
Right.
it used, toning, and essentially it was this operatic, loud vibrato, sounds I'd never been able to physically make, like my voice box would never have done that. And she told a story through song like an opera singer and gave me the whole story. And it was also a reference to, this is kind of this, I wonder, is this kind of like a part of me or something? This, it's not separate, is this it's kind of like, wow, I kind of remember this, don't remember it. And I didn't pass notice of it because, it was over. And yet my channeling started changing a little. How I spoke light language subtly, not very fast, slowly started changing since then. It was only a few weeks ago. And I did some private sessions with people and it was totally different. She was coming in and I'm like, she's not separate. She is me. It's not like she's coming in, and that's not a right word. She's coming out of me. And I think they gave me that memory today when we were talking about the alto major, because they're like, this is what we're talking about. You aren't going up to channel anymore. It's not like jumping logs anymore, because what you're doing is being more of you. What we're thinking before used to be aspects or words. It's actually just more of you that you're encompassing, and they're coming through you because you're comfortable with it, and it is you anyway. And you're just trusting and allowing. I don't know if I'm getting the words right, but I was like, oh, that's what that feeling is. That's what that energy is. That's what wants to come through. And the little bit of like, oh, I'm not sure, is that it? It's like, oh, it's okay, just be it. But when it's our first time, maybe it can feel a little scary.
Well, there's people have lots of fear around this, and that's the dimension that we've been programmed in. And if we can recognize that, then that it gives us empowerment, it gives us space, perspective. We can go, oh right, it's not me, I'm feeling that, but it's not who I am. Yes, I'm having that experience, but it comes from the dimensional resonance that we've been in to keep us small. And yes, there's different people will approach this whole area because it's vast. It's about how we are in consciousness, how we are in relationship. So there's going to be different theories and different approaches. There's not going to be one approach, and where we are on the ascension, awakening path will dictate, in a way, influence, guide us, maybe not dictate, guide us on which approach is appropriate. We're all meant to resonate very uniquely. Some people that will arrive at a certain way, and that's the way that they're meant to be holding for maybe the whole lifetime or a certain period of time, and then they move out of it. Now for me, I'm always moving, which is an interesting, given that my planetary in the Greek system, I'm Virgo. All my planets are Virgo, except for 2. And I'm always moving. I think, and I've evolved, but we are always evolving. But nothing ever seems to be. But then one of the rulers of Virgo, well, some say it's Chiron, and other people say it's Mercury. But anyway, that's what I mean, that what we could talk is because it's about how do we communicate with each other and other beings and be in union, and for me, light language sounding is then they've told me that, and I feel it. It's a stepping stone. It's not an end. It's not an ending. It is. For me, it's become a shortcut to open up now.
Yeah.
If I know if I start, I know I've opened up when the light language comes, and the minute I start sounding it, it then opens me up really quickly. It's a fast track, because it's a tool that is vast, and we're only touching the surface of it.
Very true.
Yeah, so I know we've gone over it. So I've experimented over the years in a way through light language, and then and some people, when they're first hearing it, want to know, their ego mind is going, what does it mean? Can you translate? And I did do that once for an hour with channeling you could say channeling an Arcturian. I kind of did it in a bit old school way. I would say, I'm like, okay, come in and you can be in my body a bit more. And then he would kind of do the sort of light language sounding, and then I would translate. It slowed everything down. And because they're at a higher frequency, I'll end with this because I know we've got complete. I've learned it comes in really fast because the higher frequencies are faster. So often when I've got information that's coming through from a being, a guide, it comes through so quick. I can't grab. I kind of try and grab hold of one or two things that they've said.
Yeah.
Because they go, and it doesn't matter that I can't remember all 50 of them, because they literally, when things come in, other times there's something else going on. Like when I post on Facebook, I am channeling. When I do a post, I just go, and it's very easy. I'm not doing a thing. I've not gone in a trance. I've not even asked for it. I get this kind of feeling, a bit like when you feel you're hungry. You get this feeling like, oh, I'm getting a feeling, and then I sit down and I get a couple thoughts in my head, and their thoughts are my thoughts, and then I just let it flow. And out of trying that over a few years, I now do the reading, and now the readings, I literally type what they want me to type. Sometimes it is more, you could say it's more, I can hear their voice and they're dictating to me. Other times it's my higher self. It varies depending on where someone is resonating and what the information is coming through. Anyway, I leave it there. It's a vast area.
It's huge. I love what you've shared. I think, yeah, I adore what you've shared so far. As it's just sparking off as I was walking up today from my swim. My mind was getting a little more chattery, as it does, like, what do we need to do? What do I need to do? I have this thing. And I remember, like, you know, stop trying, stop doing, just be, right? And I just took this breath as I was walking up. I was like, okay, right. And then it was like, you know, you and that being, which is open and soft, you're the mouthpiece, the body piece of the flow of the love, right? That's the channel. And then it was kind of like, well, everything, whether it's dragon or fae or unicorn, it's all source, it's all love. Once it's in love, pure love, and you're speaking pure love, that's all we need you to be, Mary. Stop trying to fix this and do that. And I was like, holy crap, is that how simple channeling is then? Just be pure love. Okay.
Yeah, and once you tune into that, then all the other fears subside. Yeah. What if I open up and who comes in? Well, you have choice. Like I used to say, when you have the doorbell rings and you can even choose to look through the window, even you don't even have to answer it. Yeah. Say you decide to open the door, you don't have to let them in. And the same rule applies for any being and in any dimension. Just so it's, you know, like just that is, I think, helpful. That's the sovereignty. And and there's a time and a place as well. So when I go out on my walking, I'm always open to the spirit of all things. So I was walking today, and then the energies are phenomenal. And there was this big, huge being. It was light. It's like it's the corner of my eye. And I'm like, it was a horse being. A light was like a horse, but it was, and it moved. It was like when it's hot weather and you get the shimmery. It was like that, and it was massive. Wow. I'm like, this guardian being just went there, and I could fit that, like I say, that chakra's like open. You can feel the presence. Now I didn't go, can I now please, can I now trans channel you? You know, I'm not. Anyway, leave the being alone for a start. It's huge and it's very light, but I'm not gonna. And if the being does come in, because there's been that interaction now, I'm like you. It's like, does this feel good? Do I want to open the door and bring a massive, I don't know, the size of a bus horse being into my presence? Do I want that? Probably not. I don't know. So, you know, if I think about it.
Pretty well.
So there's always. And then then I'll end there, because there's other times that things happen, like the she coming at the end of the pilgrimage. I'm thinking, where's the free will in all this?
Well, I suppose we said yes to the pilgrimage, and they were part of it, wasn't it? So
I had been aware of, like, I had been saying, where are you? And they're like, so I had been asking, and then when they come in, it like blows my bloody head off. Felt like, and then they gave me that. They're like, there's got to be more of you and more like you, holding a consistent high frequency to be able to be in our high frequency. And I'm like, I get it.
Well, I feel that when you're saying that.
Ooh. Yeah. So I've had experiences where beings come in just to kind of go, wake up. You're in your head and you think you understand it. Boom. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I feel that when you say that. Wow. I think we've given a good taster, haven't we, of what you're going to bring in. Wow, Zahara, thank you. I have actually learned so much in this. Because I'm not formally studied, you know. For me, this is play. Whenever I channel, does it feel like love, and is it play? And if it is, then it's in the highest good. Okay,
that's cool. Yeah.
But I love to learn as well, like that, you know. It's tasty, it's juicy. So thank you for sharing your wisdoms, everybody. I'm going to put the registration link after this call below, and you register for the festival. Eve and the team behind the scenes are going to be sending out emails to everybody who already has, and you'll be receiving the timetables, and you'll be able to choose and pick the different types of workshops that are on, or go to as many as you wish, all day long from 12 to 7:30 UK time. Yeah, with multiple concurrent, so there's 3 or 4 at once sometimes in different rooms. You can choose, just like a real festival, what room you go into. And Zahara's time is 6 o'clock. Double checking. No, 5 to 6. 5 to 6 UK time, 6 to 7 European CET time. So do tune in. It'll sure to be a treat with Zahara and her beautiful presence. I love being with you. I love speaking with you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the 7th, Sunday the 7th.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
And just ground again, everybody, just
Ground
in case
again.
you've been,
Okay.
before we just, if you've been activated or felt any presences, just tune in and sense any subtle talking that you might have felt in your head or your heart, like, oh, I want to connect with this being, or I've had this experience, or questions that you've got. Just acknowledge all of that and allow that to be. And you can come obviously on the 7th and bring questions there. Just allow that to settle, and just we acknowledge and we honor. I'm going to put light language coming in now.
Bring it out.
Okay, well, okay. Mod kushk ianar kut it ianar kut kut mo e mo e mo e mo e mo ana e mo ya mo just needed to bring in a little bit there, because they're saying it's about letting go of that block to the heart, the grief of that loss of connection with all the divine beings and the family of light. And so this discussion perfectly completed was showing how the wisdom and the resonance of when we do open up, and they're saying this is what we're releasing, is that grief of connection with each other, human to human being, connection with nature, connection with Gaia and source and our bodies. And there's been a lot of people passing over.
There has.
So all of this is all very connected. So on when I'm going to do the workshop, we'll be connecting to what wisdom they want to bring in, because they hold energies and frequencies and wisdom that we feel energetically, and that's the divine purpose of channeling. So this is if this isn't a perfect illustration of how blah 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 can carry on, and the minute you just allow the to open up, then it's like, okay, if they get to the point and we feel held, and it's like, oh, and then it's beautiful, because it's about being in beauty and co-creating. So thank you for that.
I'm yawning away here because I feel relaxed. I feel grounded, and I hope all of you do too. Remember, one last time, the 7th of August, register below. Zahara's Introduction to Channeling workshop from 5 to 6. Thank you again, Zahara. Bless you.
Thank you.
Mwah. Bye, darlings.
Bye.